What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, I'm rolling solo. You're stuck with me today. We have a lot of good things coming up on the show. I just released a whole bunch of new episodes on the schedule. I hope you're as excited about them as I am. We'll talk more about what those are. But today, I want to just kind of have a fun, casual coding show. I think it's been a while since we've done one of those. I have been talking to a couple folks. I was talking to James Quick actually about some fun things that we could do with presentations and other kind of live stuff with multi-screen real-time experiences. And I just want to see if we can prototype something like that together. So if y'all want to jump on in with me and we're gonna learn some stuff. We're gonna see how far we can get in 90 minutes. And that means that today is gonna be mostly coding, but I do want today to be nice and casual, AMA, whatever. So more interactive than usual. I know that this show has been getting a little more like chat only jumps in at certain points. So today, I think let's have a little more fun. This is going to be way more chat driven. We're going to see how far we can get on things and just generally mess around. So why don't we jump over to the programming view here? Let's see, where are we? Let's pull this up first. And I'm going to start by just saying we are live right now. We've got live captioning going from White Coat Captioning. We have Rachel with us today. Thank you, Rachel, for being here. And that's made possible through our sponsors. We got Nelify, NX, Backlight, all kicking in to make this show more accessible to more people, which I appreciate very much. And I was talking about the schedule. Look at this schedule. We are going to have Scott Gell from Webpage Test, or from Catchpoint more specifically. They just did some really cool stuff where you can run a web page test report on a website, and then they'll let you experiment by like, hey, what if you lazy loaded your JavaScript, or hey, what if you made this change to your code or added this to your head or whatever. And you can do all that without actually having to make any code changes. You can just run the test. They'll make the code changes and give you a new report with a control so you can see what the impact would be before you write any code. It's unbelievably cool. I'm super excited to have Scott show us how it works. And it's all powered by Nelify Edge functions, which is also very cool. Then we've got Prince coming on. Prince, always a great friend of the show, is going to teach us how to use Blender. I've never used Blender. I've been advised that I need to install Blender and make sure that my computer can handle running Blender and OBS at the same time. So we'll see. But I think that's going to be really fun. 3D is something that I am always blown away when I see people doing it, and I've never actually done it myself, so excited to learn. And then Yang Zhang is coming in to talk about visual page building with Plasmic, which is like a drag and drop UI builder, but Plasmic is convinced that we can do this in a way that is like a legit production app. So I'm really excited about that. Lots and lots of good stuff coming. And then and then I got Sunil Pai coming back on. Sunil is one of my favorite people. Drop a lot of Sunil Pai quotes in my my day to day. And we're going to talk about edge computing. Sunil's over at Cloudflare. I'm at Netlify. We both have edge offerings, and I feel like this is probably, to me at least, the most exciting space in web development right now. So I just want to talk about what it is, why we're excited about it, what we think it unlocks. So that's going to be a really, really good one. That one's probably going to be more of like a discussion than a real code along. I don't even know if we're going to build something. We might just take questions and talk. So that's going to be really, really fun if you are interested in learning more about the edge. What echo? Hold up, sorry, 1 second. Is the echo gone? Check, check, check. Lots of echo. Sorry for the... Oh no. Solo Rolo. Better. Echo is good. Echo, yeah, all right, all right, all right. Echo's gone. Okay, sorry about that. I had both my... remember last time when I did a solo episode and my camera died halfway through and I had to switch over to like my MacBook Pro camera and there was just general chaos? I apparently forgot to turn that off. Sorry, everyone. And what's up, friends? I see Also, I love that, Doug, I don't know if you were going for a joke by writing like echoes over and over again, but that's a good joke. I'm going to give it to you. It's a good joke. What's up, Ben? What's up, Tony? Seeing lots of familiar faces. Hello, hello, everyone. ASQU. Good. Yeah. All right. Yeah. that is you. That is you, Ben. Okay. So let me talk through kind of this idea that I have, right? So what James and I were talking about is this idea of like what makes streaming fun is the interactive element. When I'm streaming, you as the chat can give me ideas and we can modify what's happening in real time, right? So streams, rather than being like a presentational thing where I'm standing up here saying I'm going to do this, and if you're thinking there's a better way to do it, you just have to kind of sit tight and send me an email afterward or something, or do nothing and I just never know that there was a better idea out there. You're helping me co-author this stream, right? And I think that's what I love about this live medium, is the co-creation of it all. And so James and I were talking about what let me pull up James's picture since I'm talking about him here. What is James's handle? It's James Quick. There he is, James Q Quick. So we were talking about this at Remix, and then we were both at Remix Conf, and then we were at Render ATL, both of which were very good conferences. So let me also pull those up. I think the videos, no, I don't want the 23. I want the 22. There it is. All right. So yeah, you can watch the recordings, right? There's the recordings for Remix Conf, and then Render ATL was also wonderful. Lots of very cool things going on there. I had a blast for lots of different reasons. But anyways, James was at both of these, and we were talking about how do we make like conference presentations as fun as live streaming. And I think the answer is you don't, right? Like a conference presentation is different from a live stream. We don't necessarily want full audience participation in a conference because these talks are like 15 minutes long. You don't have as much time to, screw up and recover. And, you want to get to a point. You're trying to teach something and you want to do that. But I do think there's room for more interactivity. I think there's room for more ways for things to be connected and to include the audience, both remotely and in the crowd. So we were talking about what that could look like, and we started thinking about real-time tech and what this could mean. So are you all familiar with this idea of focus groups for TV? So focus groups for TV is like there's probably a lot of ways to do it, but one way that I've seen that I thought was really clever is people are sitting, and as they're watching a show, they've got this knob, right? And in the middle is kind of neutral. And as they're watching the show, if they start to feel good, they turn the knob to the right to indicate that they're enjoying themselves. And if they start to feel bad, they turn the knob to the left to indicate that they're not enjoying themselves. And the control, or the way that they use these focus groups, is they basically look at it and say like, oh, well, people really liked this part of the show, so that's a thing that we should do, but everybody disliked this part of the show, so maybe we could drop that. And I think that's really, really interesting, right? Now, I don't necessarily think that we want to run a focus group on our conference talks, but I do kind of like the idea of playing with that so that the audience could share their opinion in kind of a collective, passive way as the talk is going on. So as a hypothetical, let's say I'm giving a talk about hot dogs, right? And as I'm starting this talk, I'm going to put up a slide that says something like, a hot dog is my favorite kind of sandwich. And then if you in the audience have scanned this QR code, you'll have a second screen experience that kind of shows you meta content about the presentation you're watching. And you can do something like, maybe I'll show two options. I say my hot dog is my favorite kind of sandwich. And you have two options. One is an angry face because I just called the hot dog a sandwich. And one is a thumbs up that says you agree. Hot dogs are a great sandwich. And in the lower corner of the presentation, we could actually kind of see where the crowd sentiment is on that particular claim, right? And so that to me is really interesting because it gives us this ability to now make things pretty interactive in what I would consider to be a pretty dang fun way. So thinking about that, how would we go about building that? And so that's what I want to figure out today. And we're going to see how far we can get. I have absolutely not thought about this at all. I'm just kind of thinking about what this could be. I have a general concept in my head, and I'm going to do my best to make it work. So let's create a new folder, and we're going to call this RealTime-Talks. And let's get into it. I'm going to get init here. And then in this, I'm going to need... Oh, James is up here because James and I were talking about this. We were talking about this real-time idea. So so that's kind of where this whole thing started.
Oh, so we would need to add code.
We would need to add code. You know what's also interesting is at some point I like turned off the noise on my end. So I think y'all can hear the sound effects, but I can't hear the sound effects, and I think they're super loud. So let me make that happen. Okay, so let's just kind of start here by thinking through what we want to do. I want to have two UIs to start, right? So let's see. Should I use... How much do I remember about NX? Because this is going to be like two separate apps, and I need to be able to run them both. And I kind of want to not have to manually configure all of that. So let's maybe bring NX up. And NX is one of the sponsors of the show. I have very much enjoyed working with their stuff when I've used it. So I'm gonna go to this Create NX workspace. I know React the best, so let's start with React. So I'm going to copy one of these and get an application up and running in minutes. That's what I want. So can I do this? And then I'm going to install that. Workspace name is going to be, we'll call this like main talk. Oh, wait. No, I screwed this up. Let's try again. All right, one more time. This time it's going to work. We're going to, this one is going to be RealTime-Talks. I think this is going to actually double my folder. So application name is going to be main talk. I'm going to put in just plain old CSS, I think. Use NX Cloud. I can't remember what this does. So I'm just going to say yes, because it says it's free and I like free things. So we're installing dependencies. Let's see. Yeah, NX picked up Lerna. That's very, very cool. Because like Lerna, and Lerna, for folks who don't know, is like one of the OG monorepo setups. And they posted a thing that was like, we're deprecating Lerna, like it's over. And then NX stepped in and took over, which is interesting because if you look at it, like you could look at Lerna and say, oh, that's a direct competitor to NX. But I dig that. I like the spirit of open source where, it's all about making the ecosystem healthier for people, right? Not about like forcing everyone to use your tool by eliminating all the other options. I didn't mean to punctuate that with like a sips tea moment, but I did. Okay, so let's open this up and take a look at what it does. And all right, so we've got RealTime-Talks. I definitely did do the thing that I didn't want to do. So let me open up. Let's see. Let's open up the... I just want to look into this folder and see if no, LS. Does it have a .git? It doesn't. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to open up my Finder and I'm just going to fix this so that it's not like double nested on me. And I want to go into my GitHub folder. Here it is. Here's RealTime-Talks. And I'm going to take everything out of... Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this one out. And it's going to... Can't be replaced by an item it contains. Boo. Let's go with parent. And then we'll take this one up. And then I can get rid of this parent. Right? And then am I still in the same place? Yes. Okay. So then this now should be right. And I'm going to get init here. It's already there. Okay. Why wouldn't this be? There we go. And then I'm going to get init. There we go. All right. I did something weird by like changing the system while I was in that folder and then all that good stuff that I did. All right. So now that I've got this, I'm going to close and reopen this so that all these aren't grayed out. Oh, did it pick it up already? I don't think it did. I'm opening it again. All right. So now we've got our apps, right? And so here is our main talk app. And then to run these, if I remember correctly, I just have to do something like, I don't need to generate. I want to run it. Development server, nx serve my app. Okay, so I do nx serve main talk. Huh? Oh, do I have to install something? I thought I had this. Let's go npm install nx. Run that one more time. Okay, so now we've got localhost 4200. And if I come out here, here is our main talk. Okay, so we've got that one. And I want to do something like, let's just do some real basic stuff here. I'm going to go into this app. We've got our main.tsx. That's an app. App is here. All right, so there's our styles. And so I'm going to drop out this NX welcome because I don't need it because we're building out something different. So I'm going to delete this one. All right, and then I'm going to set up, let's see, how would we set up a slide? I want a full width, full height slide. And so the way that we're going to do that is we are going to go into our module and we're going to say there's a slide here and I want this to be a width of 100 viewport width units and a height of 100 viewport height units. Okay. And then we want a div class name of style slide. All right, we'll put something inside of it. Why doesn't that work? Fragments should contain more than one child, otherwise there's no need for, okay, cool. I can fix that. Now what do you want? Slide comes from an index signature, so it should be accessed with, fine. Okay, so let's get this out here, and then we'll do like a hot dog. Let's just make the slide, right? Hot dogs are my favorite sandwich. And then we'll do like a, how do you do, you want to do a span aria label, right? And it would be hot dog. And then you put in the, somebody tell me if I'm doing this wrong. I'm trying to remember how to make an accessible emoji off of the top of my head. I think this is, no, that's not right. It wants roll image. Got close. Now is it happy? Operation not permitted. You don't have a medical permit. All right. So then let's make our slide. Let's give it a color so we can see what's going on. We'll do a background color of, let's go with something that's not going to blow our eyes out. So that seems like a good one. Let's do that. Okay, so here's this. And now we've got the issue that I was worried we would have, which is that we have a, like a default margin and stuff. So I'm going to come out to this default one and we're going to say HTML and body are going to have a margin of 0 and a padding of 0. And then we'll set like HTML is going to have, why doesn't that work anymore? I used to have that work. And we'll just do Apple system, let Copilot do the rest. And then we'll do a font size of like 20. How are we looking out here? Closer, closer. Okay, so then what I want is I want this to be box sizing, border box. And why don't we just get rid of margins in general? Margins are not what we want. We'll set those manually. Okay, so then because it's a slide, I want these to be let's vertically center everything. So I'm gonna display flex. I'm gonna justify content center. We're gonna have to flex direction column because we don't want the heading and the hot dog to be together, and then we'll align items center. And what that should give us, there we go. All right. Okay, so then I want the ability to make that text bigger. So I'm going to say, we'll just give it something like big text. And then I'm going to say font size. Wow, look at you. Don't need any of that though. So we'll give this a class name. Nope. Of styles, big text. Boom. Look at us go. I'm really happy about this. This is doing really well. This is a risky click. I'm just going to click something Tony sent without vetting it at all. Yeah, well, I mean, we knew we'd get here eventually, right? Oh, wow, look at this. So this is not, okay, that's not I thought that was a poll thing. I was like, oh, we're building that. Okay, so we've got this. And then the thing that I'm looking for here is how do we get like some kind of a sentiment analysis down at the bottom? And I think the way that I want to do that is with, let's see, how could we do it? If we do something in the center, right? So we put like, we can probably just start with the circle so that we don't have to think through all of the UX of it, but start with a circle in the center, and then we could have bars that go out to the left and right that would indicate like approval or disapproval of a statement, right? So we could have kind of, looking at this section here, if we've got kind of a center point, and then if people like it, this bar would grow, and if they don't like it, this bar would grow. And ideally both would be kind of growing at the same general speed, but it would, just kind of show. And now an important thing for me is like, we're not going for like direct polling. Like, I don't necessarily want this to be do you use TypeScript? Yes or no? And then people would, they would answer yes or no, and we would see the poll result, right? It could be used for that. And I actually think that would be really fun, but apps exist that do that sort of thing. What I'm looking for is more of like a passive visualization that kind of makes things fun and chaotic, in a way that's not super distracting. So like, I don't necessarily think I would implement the boop drop or the corgi stampede on my slides, but I do kind of like the idea of reserving a portion of the slide for some kind of visualization that shows what the audience is feeling or thinking about the slide as it goes. So make the disapproval go up if you yell at the page. Hardcore. Come on, Ben. That's hurtful, but yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, so we've got our slide, right? So we've got our slide, and then what we need inside of our slide is we need tug of war is actually a fun idea. Let's see if we can get this mocked up, and then let's see what we can make it do. Let's go with, we'll just go with something that's kind of obviously, we'll call it responses. right? And then in the responses, we will need, how do we want to do this? We can do this as, so we also need to think about how this will be accessible, right? So we want it to visually be there. I know this is a slide deck and it's very unlikely that somebody would be looking at my slide deck using accessibility tools while I'm giving the talk, but it's a good habit to think through, like, how would this work? Because later maybe this gets embedded in a web page, right? And somebody can be, it's like for a live event, we're all doing a watch party and everybody wants to, then you do want to be thinking about how assistive tech would work. So maybe we do something like how the audience is feeling, and then we have should I use the meter element? I probably should use the meter element. So if we have a meter, the meter gives us a value. Okay, this probably looks right because then we've got a min max. This is fascinating. Low, minimum, optimum. Cool. I don't know if we're going to get to any of that today, but what we can do is we can pull this to this side. Let's pull this to this side, hide that sidebar, and let's go with, can we just throw these in? Like, does that label for, let's see, HTML4, and we'll call this good. And we'll say meter ID good, and we'll give it a min of 1, or a min of 0, a max of 100, and let's start it with a value of, say, let's start them both with a value of 50. And then we can do the same thing for bad, right? And then if we take that and we put it on the screen, it looks like, where's my thing? Here. Okay. So we're pretty, this isn't bad. Like, this honestly, as is, could kind of work here. Also, this is very, very cool. Can we flip the meter element to be right to left? That would be very cool. So let's try it. Let's see. Let's see what we can pull off here. So I'm gonna do a class name equals, and then we're gonna have a couple of these. So the first one is gonna be styles, and we'll just call it meter. And then the next one is gonna be for the, oh yeah, I need to go over here. Styles, and we'll call it like meter good and meter bad. I kind of hate that, but it's okay, right? This isn't, we're not going for beautiful production ready code. We're prototyping today. So let's get in here and look at our meters. So we've got meter, and I want to do something like, what are the properties you can even style on a meter? Do they have styling guides in here? Min max, cool. Yeah, how do you do CSS for meter elements, CSS tricks. That feels like the right thing to do. Let's get in here and look at, we've got attributes. Where are the styles? Okay, get all that. I want to make it look different though. Style. Okay. So we can just set a width and height. All right, let's start there. We'll go with a width of, let's see, we want our centered circle thing to be a certain size. So we can do like a calc of 50 minus, we'll say, make it 6 rem. So we'll do 3 rem on each side. Okay, I'm feeling good about that. I also need to get the visually hidden class. Because, well, actually, no, I don't, because we're going to need to show what this means, right? So maybe instead we want to do another one of these buddies. And instead of text, we will put in an emoji. And for good, we'll do the yum. Aria label is... No, that's not right. This is going to be like yum face. And then out here, I need some like visually hidden text. Because we can say... No, I want this to be like span class name is visually hidden, and I'm going to make that a global class because we might use that somewhere else. And then we'll say feeling good. And then we can do the same thing here, right? I'm just going to look at chat to make sure I'm not doing anything that everybody is very upset about. Everybody seems happy. Clearly, I am a genius. Okay, so then this one's going to be an angry face. And feeling bad. Okay. Good. All right, let's get out into our styles. And then I need to create that visually hidden CSS. There's a good one in here. Let's just grab this. And we'll put it here and change it to visually hidden. Okay, so now that I've done that, theoretically, yeah, there they go. They're gone. All right, so now we want to show these where, let's see, feeling bad should be on the left, good should be on the right. So let's swap the order. Oops, screwed that up. Okay, and then I want to see if we can flip the right to left of the meter bad. How does right to left work? Text direction, right to left. Nope, that's not it. I guess, I mean, we could do something really transform scale x -1. There we go. So that'll do it. Should there just be 1 meter with 50% being neutral? I mean, you're probably right. What do you think, chat? Should we make it 1 meter and it's like it is a tug of war? Yes, 1 meter. Okay. All right, let's do it. We'll do 1 meter. And then we can get rid of this one. And we'll have to change this out a little bit. So now it's going to be not a label anymore, but more of just a paragraph. And then we don't need that anymore. And then this will need to... Let's see, how's this going to work? We're going to do this one outside in a paragraph, right? And then we've got our label, but we'll just make the label visually hidden entirely. Right, then we don't need that span anymore. Okay, so that all seems okay. And I want to swap this out somehow. Well, let's just go we'll go with like a div class name styles meter container. Right? Because when in doubt, wrap it in a div. That's right. That's right. That's what all the advocates say, right? When in doubt, wrap it in a div. And then in the meter container, we can display flex, and we'll do a justify content. I call this the Dave Matthews because it's the space between the crooked line. Okay. And then we've got, yeah, there we go. All right. This is looking pretty good here. So then I also don't need to flip this meter anymore because we actually do want it to kind of go this way. And so then we probably want to use the good and bad, right? Where the meter has a, where was it? Meter? We have like the thresholds. High, low. Okay, so high is where we want it to be happy, and low is where we want it to be sad. So we'll say high is going to be like 55, right? We'll make it pretty easy to see whether people are feeling this or not. So we've got a high and a low, and then if we come back out here, what did I do wrong? Type string is not assignable to type number. Nobody's trying to make you a number, my dude. I guess we deleted that style, didn't we? That's what happened. Though that feels like it should recover. Failed to compile. Oh, these are supposed to be like, that's very annoying. Feels like they should be able to recover from that as well. Okay. All right, that's good. Let's change the value to 40. Let's change it to 60. Why are you yellow? High, low. Oh, I probably need to change it to like, Okay, so let's style it. Should it be a meter or a slider? Don't know. Don't know what the right thing to do is. I mean, I guess what we could say is this is a meter indicating the percent of people who approve of this thing. Let's go with a background color. So we have a background color, box shadows. You can do linear gradients. Okay, that's kind of fun. But what if I just want to change what happens when it's meter before, after, fine. But I want to change what it's like high or low. Optimum, suboptimum. Suboptimum? What? The value falls inside the low high range. Outside the low high range. When the value, but in opposite zones. What? Value is less than low, is less than high, is less than optimum? What does that even mean? Also, what does meter chunk mean? Internet Explorer. Oh boy, this is old, isn't it? Maybe I need a... Are there updated... Anybody post an updated thingy? This is from 2011. Better solution in 2019. Oh, you do still have to do the thing. Fine. Maybe a slider. One side is red. One side is yeah. I think yeah. You're making good. You're making good arguments, chat. Let's go to the slider element. It's a range. Let's get ourselves a range. And we want to do something. Let's see. So we'll keep the min max. Change it to a type range. And then I think we get rid of the high and low because we don't need those anymore. And then we'll need to update that class name. But this is okay. That feels like it's okay. I'm gonna break this on the line so that we have a little easier time editing. All right, so we've got our range here, and we're gonna call this sentiment and current sentiment. And we'll probably have to figure out some ways to like, wait a minute, can we do attribute selectors? Let's try. Okay, so I'm gonna do I'm just gonna do a really basic experiment. I'm gonna put a div down here, and we're gonna call this, no, I'm not. I'm gonna do it with the color of the meter itself. So we're gonna change this to we called it sentiment. I want to change the style name to sentiment as well. Right. And then probably the same here, just so that we all right, so now we've kind of got a thing. If I set the color to red, that's not it. If I set the background color, it's not it either. How do we style this? Show me styles. List max, examples, styling, hash marks and labels. Oh, that's cool. Oh, this is also very cool. Look at that. All right. List is tick marks. I like that. That's cool. Okay, so then we've got vertical range of controls, vol fine. Requires adding CSS. That's fine. But what I really want, appearance, slider vertical. Yeah. But what I really want is colors and stuff. Styling the range element. That's what I want. Here we go. Back to CSS tricks, because you always go back to CSS tricks. Is this the right thing to inspect element? Weird. Oh, we're getting into stuff. Structure and edge is much more complex. Why are they all like this? What if we're not just gonna get like plain old styles, are we? Initial styles. What if I just want to set the color though? There's a lot in this article, and I feel like it's skipping the pieces that I care about. No shade on the author, I just... What is happening? Inline style, no. For real though, you can't just like change the color on this? Inspect. Okay. Cursor, color, internal light, dark. Input. So it says there are colors, but it's definitely not using any of them. Color. None of you are things. What if we just like give it a height and then does that break it? Nope. So we're gonna have to like custom style this if we want this to do anything other than what it's doing right now, which is oh, WebNeat on the game. All right, perfect. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. Thank you, WebNeat. All right, so we want the accent color. Didn't even know that was a property. Okay. All right, so here's what I want to figure out. If we've got sentiment, and I want to see if I can do sentiment value less than equal to 45. There's no way this is going to work, right? There's no way this is going to work. And we're going to do, if it is greater than or equal to 55, we'll do green. Okay, and then otherwise it's going to be gray. And I can't set that because I did something. Don't know what. But that should make it green, right? So clearly that didn't actually do what I wanted. Let's see. Can you get CSS use input value in calc? Can you use it at all? Value equals United States. That's fine, but that's not quite what I'm after. Do represent. So you can't do math. So that's unfortunate. You need default value. Oh, default value. That's a good call. So default value. Right? So we'll have a default value of 50. And now we can actually move it, but it does not change the way that I want it to change because this is not real. But what if, let's see, would this work if we make the min 1 and this 99? Can we get clever? I can get clever. Let's, oh, it won't work because then we would have the 1, 2, 3 stuff would all break. I was going to get real clever and set, oh, just kidding. We can do it. We're going to do a 10 to 99, right? And then what I can do is if it starts with, which is this one, if it starts with 1, or, you ready for these hacks? 2, 3, 4, right? 2, 3, 4. Then it's low. And if it starts with 6, 7, 8, or 9, then it's green. This goes away. And that should have worked, and it didn't. Did I get that wrong? Starts with? being exactly or beginning with. Do I need one of these instead? Boo. Okay. Wait a minute, Nikki. Input in range. Range specified. What is that? Wait, how does that work though? Because wouldn't it be values between 1 and 10 are valid, your value is out of range? That's close. That's close, but not quite what we're after because we're trying to get like different colors. Now all of these are in range. You know what though? I'm definitely hyper focused on the wrong thing here, right? Like we should be trying to make any of this real time because we've got what 40 minutes left, and we haven't even gotten close to doing any of that. So, so yeah, let's yeah, okay, this is going to be fine because what I want to be able to do is update this value, and I want to be able to do that with real time. So let's set up our second thingy, and what I want to do is make that bigger again, and we're going to go to the docs, and I want to create a new UI. Oh, I'm already in the NXDLI, and I want to make a thing, generator. Workspace generators. I don't want a workspace. I want a new thing. I want a new application. So was it? No, that's not it. Creating libraries, applications. I want to create an application. No, that's not it. So you can create a lib. How do I create an app? So I created a new workspace. That part makes sense. And then that created an app, but I want to create another app. Maybe I just need to do one of these. Look in here, see if it'll show me what I did. Oh, that's... Was it in here? First time using NX. Well, I get how to do that part. How do I create another one though? NX. Generate, okay. Generate. Generator. Is that the thing I needed? React. Generating, managing React applications. So NXG. Okay, that's what I want. And we're going to do second screen. Would you like to re-add? I don't need React router. Okay. And so now if I do, what was the command before? It's like nx serve main talk. So now I can do second screen. Right now, if I come out here, now we're on second screen. Okay. So this is all making sense. We can make this work. So then out here, what I want is if we close this one down, we can see second screen. So yeah, now that I remember what the commands are, I think this monorepo stuff is dope. So then we get in here, we get rid of this, we can make this into a thingy and this into a thingy, and we'll say How do you feel about this nonsense? And this needs to be, actually, this probably needs to be like a form, right? And that'll have a button of ID good. And then that'll need to have our, this one, right? And then we need one more. Okay, so then if we go out and look at this, we've got our buttons. You can say, I feel good or bad about that. Okay, great. Now, so what I want to be able to do is I actually want to get a little bit of something going. So I'm trying to think, what should we use for real time? WebSockets, we probably want to use, I'm going to use Ably because I think it does what I need and has a free tier. Start with a free account. Let me just double check what that free account allows because I don't, 100 peak connections. We got 65 people watching. That'll work. Yeah, let's get in here. Sign up with GitHub. I already have an account. Great. Okay, so I'm going to create a new app, and we're going to call this RealTime-Talks. If you want to enforce TLS for all connections, I mean, I assume yes. Is there a reason I wouldn't want to do that? I'm going to say yes. Supabase. Oh, Supabase has the auth too, right? Maybe I do want to use Supabase because it would be nice if people used, like, they logged in with their Twitter or GitHub or something. And that'll give us real time. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to make a new project. We're going to put it here. I'm going to call it RealTime-Talks. Database password, is this? Just don't look while I put this in. Will you give me a generate one? No? Fine.
You hackers, you dirty hackers.
Okay, so there is our password, US East, good. I'm in California, I'm near California, so let's do that. Free plan. Get in my project. I have to throw this password somewhere before I lose it. Okay. Project API keys. It didn't show them. Thank you very much for not doing that. Okay, so then what I need to do is I need to get in here and say we need, well, not observability. We want auth to start. So let's authentication, and let's use GitHub because I feel like that's probably the thing most people are gonna most likely to have. So I need to create and configure an OAuth app on GitHub. We're gonna just squeak into the wire with getting this done. Let's go to here, settings, and I gotta go down to developers, and I'm gonna have to create a new GitHub app. Wait, was it a GitHub app? GitHub OAuth app. So that's not the right thing. So we're gonna go to OAuth apps, then we're gonna create a new one. We'll call this RealTime-Talks. It's going to have a homepage URL of something. Let's just assume that we're going to call this RealTime-Talks lwj.netlify.app. I don't know if I'm going to, wait, does it tell me what to do with that? Add your GitHub OAuth keys to your Supabase. We're going to have to change, so I bet we have to change this later. So I'm going to just say we don't need the device flow, so I'm going to register it. I have a client ID. Okay, so let's go over here. Add to your Supabase project. I don't want that. I just want to like set one up. Settings. Site URL. Good, 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 good. Email auth, phone auth, GitHub. All right, client ID. Nope. Okay, and then I need to send my secret. So I'm going to come over here and generate one. And this is my client secret. Pretty sure it's gonna, yeah, okay. All right, save. And these were gonna be localhost 4200, I think. And we'll probably need one more of those. So let's do the real-time talks lwj.netlify.app because that'll probably be what we want to do. Wildcards, don't need that. Good, good, good. All right, let's save all this. Okay, so then we can come back over here. Then we need to add the login code to your Supabase JS. Oh, it's actually in here already. So click on the settings at the bottom left side of the sidebar. Settings, bottom left side of the sidebar. Click on API in the list. Settings. Settings. API. Under config URL. Am I looking at this? Project URL, querying and managing. It's this one here, I assume. Settings, API, API URL. A RESTful endpoint. Yeah, that's got to be it. All right. So then I add /b1/callback. So I got to go back to GitHub, which is here now that the key is not being shown. So then I can go here and our callback URL is actually going to be this one. And I need to add more stuff to it. So let's add this auth v1 callback. Right. And then I'm going to update. Now what do we got? We got register a new OAuth application. Where? Client ID, generate a new ID, enter. Yeah, okay, we did that. Now we got to add the client code. JavaScript client code is documented here. So we're going to grab this. And I need to install this, I assume. How does one get Supabase? Getting started, installing. Install Supabase. Oh wait, how do I install? Here's a question. So I've got my app here. Do I put all of my dependencies at the top level? NX React, where's... So the React stuff's not here. Project JSON. That doesn't feel right. Where's the React stuff? Is it all just packaged up in there? Dependencies. Oh, here we go. Okay, it was just, I'm looking in the wrong place. Okay, so let's stop. I'm going to install Supabase. And then I'm going to serve it again. And now that I have that running and I come out to here, right? Okay. Then I can add the code. So let's go to sign in using third-party providers. That's where we were before. So let's get this GitHub provider, and we just await Supabase sign in. Add this function, which would call, but where does this go? So I get that by awaiting the auth. Oh, so here it is. Okay. So we get our function that will sign in with Supabase, and that's going to live here. And I'm just going to stick it outside like that. And then we'll do something like if session, this isn't going to work, is it? I'm going to have to do something like, oh man, I shouldn't have used React. Okay, so let's do state, set state equals use state, right? And then we'll initialize it as an empty object, and then we can do a use effect. And that's going to be in here, and then that's going to have I guess that'll call this, right? And so then we'll have this out here, and then we'll do the await. No, not in there. Out here, we'll do an await. Or no, here, and then we can set state with user session error, right? And then we can just call sign in with GitHub. And our dependency array is going to be the first time this runs. And I think that'll work. Let's do if state user, then we'll return a why? Oh, you're helping, I see. And then this has to come in from is this just like an all Supabase thing? Nope. Doing this wrong. How do you initialize this? Import Supabase. Yeah, but where do you import it from? So let's get back to installing. And then we want to initialize. And that is here. Got it. Got it. Got it. All right. So we're going here. All right. And then I need to get my API URL, which is this one. And then I need my public anonymous key, which is this one. Okay, and now theoretically speaking, I have Supabase. Why? I didn't turn on, oh, I did turn on TypeScript. Go away. Oh, that doesn't work either. Okay, so let's Where was my setup? Did I lose my page somewhere? Authorize. Okay, I'm going to authorize. I'm being redirected. Boo, TypeScript, boo. Okay. And now I have this silly thing where I can say if user or session or, oh, not that, or error that would make sure that you exist. User is not a cell. Can I just, oh my God. Why did I hit the TypeScript button? What if you didn't do that, right? Like, what if that wasn't a thing that you did? Can I make this? It's not gonna let me do that either. What if I just make them empty strings? Oh, you suck. Okay. Use state any. Yeah, get away. Will you at least not explode now? So now it says logging in and I have an infinite redirect loop. So I've done something wrong. Let's maybe not call this on the first call here. Should probably make that like a button that you, or no, I need that outside the use effect though, because I'm going to need to be able to call it. So we're not going to do the use effect. We are instead going to have a button that says login. We out of time yet? Oh, we're so close. Please don't yell at me for hacking this together. I just really want to see something work. Okay, so we have a sign in button, right? Now, if I sign in, this should get my console.log, and then we'll do user session error, right? And then that should show us something. So let's go to the console and then let's sign in. I'm going to authorize. And here the user session was null. It didn't get any of those details, which means I need to read more of the documentation is what I'm going to assume. So let's get here. Where was the quick start with React? Quick start React. Okay, just show me some code. Initialize a React app, set up a login component. Okay, so here is our login component. And set loading. This is the magic link though. I don't want the magic link. Handle login, which will set loading. It awaits for the Supabase auth. And then it says set loading false. But I don't understand why it would. On submit, handle login, right? That's what I want. Sending magic link. Does it take you somewhere if you have a thing? So this is just checking the auth. So supabase.auth.user. Okay, so maybe I'll just do like a await supabase from profiles. Oh, you got to do all this stuff too. That's great. Oh man. So I'm gonna have to copy paste a bunch of stuff, huh? Let's go. I'd really just want to like click a button and then get the thing though, right? Like that's what I'm after here. And then this should theoretically run and get me my user. So I'm gonna sign in, and then I want to, after I've signed in, I want to do like a use effect that'll just look for my user. And then I should be able to do something like async function load user. And then in here, I should be able to do like user equals. And what was the thing? It was supabase auth user. But where is this user used? Const user. Yeah, I keep saying const user and then it doesn't use the user. There's a session user. Where did the session come from? Like, am I user? Here's my user. We at least get a user ID. All right, so let's try that. Let's see if we can get something. And then we will load user. All right, and we will stop the infinite redirect that way, I hope. Let's go over here. Reload. Now it says I have a user. Okay, that's good. I got an email. What else is in here? Email identities. Any of these avatar URL, full name. All right, okay, so we're getting some stuff. Okay, all right, so then I can use my user, and when we set that, so I don't know if I actually need this piece. I can just get the user, set user, and then we'll do a use state with nothing. We'll just leave it undefined. And then don't need to do that because that comes out of Supabase, not out of React. And then when I get this, I can set user to be user. And you're going to yell at me because user or null is not. And now I hit React with a stick. And you leave me alone. Good. And then I can do an if there's not a user, otherwise we'll show our form. Okay, good. All right, so now we got a thing, right? So now, with our 5 remaining minutes, let's see if we can get this stuff to show up. So I want then a database table editor. Let's create a new table, and we'll call this sentiment. I mean, we're just doing basic stuff here. So we'll just do a value, and the value is going to be an enum. Do we get that? Love this automatic refreshing whenever I scroll down the page. I'm going to just go with text because that's the thing I can scroll to. And so we'll do a value of good or bad. So let's save. And now we've got this. Okay. So then if I want to insert something into that row, go to here maybe. So let's get out of auth, and I instead want to get into databases, and I want to create data. So I'm going to insert, right? So we will do something like form on submit, and you will do create vote, and that is going to be an async function create vote, and that's going to need the event, and then we'll do like an event prevent default, and then down here, so we'll just do one of these again. Leave me alone. Implicitly hasn't, yes, not just implicitly, it's intentionally. How do I make you go away? And then down here, I want to do like ooh. Can I tell which button was clicked? Is that a thing? Oh, hey friends. Thank you, Purple Elf, for the raid. Welcome everyone. Appreciate the beard love. We are actually just coming up to the end of this stream, and it's looking like I'm not going to get to any of the stuff that I wanted to do, because as usual, I spent the entire stream fiddling with CSS. So let's get, right, so I have the ability to insert some data. So let's hard code some data. So my table is called sentiment, and I want to add a value. The value is going to be, I'm just going to hard code some stuff for a second. And then I need a user ID as well. Crap. And that's going to have to be user.id, right? That's what we're storing. If I go look over here, user.id. Yes. So that's a user ID. We can use that. And then when I come out to my table here, I can I edit the table? Yes. I'm going to add a column, and we're going to say, can I just make this like a user ID? Users ID. That's nice. Save. Gotta name it. User ID. Okay, so that's linked. And then when I go to drop in my user ID, that's going to be user.id. You are not going to let me do this, are you? What if I just want to... Can I... No, not going to let me do that. Yeah, you can get mad at me all you want, TypeScript. I do what I want. Okay, so then down in here, I'm going to console log data and error. Okay, let's give this a rip and see if we can get some data into the database. So I'm logged in, right? And now I'm gonna say I agree that a sandwich. We got data. It says it created. Oh, good, good, good. All right, let's go back in here and look. And we've got rows. Hey, all right, so that's not bad. Okay. So then let's think about how we would get this same thing if we wanted to pull this. I want to unsubscribe. So in my other setup, what I want then is I want to get my... Oh, I did a mess up here, didn't I? Let me get one of these, and then I'm going to get one of these. Copy that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to stick this up at the top, and we've got a Supabase set up, right? And now down here, I want to use this const my subscription, and we'll I guess set this up in a use effect. And that use effect will do something like this. Can I just hit that? Like, does that just work? Maybe? No. On payload, subscribe, change. I don't know. That seems okay. Well, this needs cleanup. Like, I'm not doing. We're not doing anything that would like delete this. How do you tear down a subscription? Listening to inserts. That's really what I want. Insert. Right. So what I want is for my app. I'm gonna just open this up in another. Go GitHub JLang store for RealTime-Talks. We're gonna do NX. Crap. Nope. NX run. NX serve second screen, so I want to NX serve main talk. And I have a duplicate port, which means I need to change my port. And that's going to be in here probably somewhere, maybe project JSON 4200 port. No. Come on, don't let that be the thing. Okay, we're just going to stop the other one and we'll insert the row manually to see if we can get. Okay, so here's 4200. Okay, so this is running. And now if we take this one over here, how many minutes we got? We have exactly 0 minutes. So let's try this once. And if it doesn't work, we will, I don't know, do nothing, I guess. I'm going to click this button to insert a row, and that's going to be automatically generated. The value is going to be bad, and the user ID is going to be my user ID. Enter a value in the user ID field first. Crap, come on. Okay, give me a user ID. Can I please? I just want to copy paste it. Thank you. Cancel. Open this up. Bad. User ID. I'm going to save, and we should see a console log right now. And we didn't. Because there's an error. Because it tried to connect to. Yeah, I did something wrong. Well, so we almost got real time. We got really, really close to accomplishing something today. I just want you all to bask in the glory of, you know, sometimes you get right up to the finish line and you just trip over your own feet, fall face first in the dirt, and you watch somebody else beat you to the end. That's what happened to us today. I was defeated by CSS, and well, I wasn't defeated by CSS. I was defeated by myself. But that was a lot of fun. I think we will probably need to set up a follow-up to see if we can get this the rest of the way running, because I think we got a lot of promise here, right? There's a lot going on, and this thing is very close to being usable. So if we get a little bit further, we would be able to get that real time running, so that every time a new vote is made, it would be caught here, and we'd be able to use that to increment or decrement the meter value, which would let us move that more toward the happy face or the angry face. So I think we could probably do this in one more session. But this one is over. So we are going to do one more shout out to the schedule. Make sure you head over to the schedule and add this so that you can go and learn how all of this good stuff that's coming up works. And then you can also, you know, follow on Twitch, subscribe on Twitch, follow on YouTube. That's another good way to make things happen. This episode, like every episode, has been live captioned. We've had Rachel with us today from White Coat Captioning. If I can bring up my homepage. And oh man, I'm so over time that we've lost the captioning. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So this was sponsored by Netlify, NX, and Backlight, all of whom are making the show more accessible to more people. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. We're going to go find somebody to raid. We will see you all next time.